Recently, I've been reading a lot and listening to a lot of podcasts about the loneliness epidemic. Many people just haven't been talking to each other. There's this fear and hesitance within people to have conversations. And I think that's really concerning. And maybe it's because I'm in my early 30s and I'm in a phase of my life where my friends and my family members, they're either in long-term relationships, having kids, or working a lot during the day. And I just see how much smaller some of their worlds are getting because they're just in the thick of the few things in their life that are important, where it makes it hard for them to step out of that and break into bigger connections. And over time, the skill of being able to connect and communicate with other people starts to just disappear. When I was growing up, I didn't have social skills role modeled for me, but I wanted friends. And I was this kid who had to observe other people and see how they made friends. Like, notice why this person was popular. Why did this person seem to be able to converse easily compared to other people? Why does this person have so many friends and why do others gravitate towards them? There was all of these little things that I noticed in other people that made them charismatic and attractive and good at conversation. And I literally studied these people because I did not know how. And at the time, it was something that I was embarrassed to admit. But now that I'm older, I realize how many people had to do that and also how many people still haven't done that but want to. The thing is, all of this took a lot of intention. The skill of connecting with other people and being able to have a conversation with anyone is something that you have to develop. It doesn't come naturally for most people. And if it does come naturally, it's usually because it was role modeled by someone else who was close to them, that they could replicate those habits, replicate those behaviors, and find it more easy to connect with other people and make friends and have conversations. It just makes me sad to think about there's could be someone out there who's just one conversation away from meeting someone who could change their life, whether it's a partner or a really good friend or a mentor, but they're never going to meet them because they're not putting themselves out there and having a conversation and talking to people outside of their immediate circle. I fear that people are shying away from this thing that is actually helpful for us, which is connecting with other people, either out of fear or tiredness or other reasons. But the thing is, just like anything that is worth having, relationships aren't easy. They don't always come naturally. They take effort and they take intention. So in this video, I'd like to talk about just a few things that you might be able to do to just start conversations with other people and get to know people who aren't in your immediate circle of company. So here's something that I do that I only recently noticed was a habit of mine. If I want to talk to someone and I can sense that we might have something in common or they might be a cool person to talk to, what I'll do sometimes is I will make a comment out loud that I know is loud enough for them to hear to see if they respond and it's something that they're also excited to talk about. So one example is I'm in Los Angeles right now, and I was visiting a friend, and my friend works in the film industry. I met up with them at this garage sale, and then I noticed that within the walls of the house where the garage sale was being held was a bunch of awards that said Best Filipino Filmmaker or Manila Film Festival, things like that. And I'm also Filipino. And when I was at this garage sale, as my friend was checking out and buying stuff that he wanted to get, I could kind of tell that the person ringing him up was also a Filipina. And so I just said out loud to my friend, I really liked my time in Manila. Manila was really fun. And I said it loud enough where the cashier could hear, or the person who was ringing him out could hear. And she kind of just lit up. She's like, did you say you were from Manila? And then I said, I was born in New York, but I visited Manila for a little bit and I had a really good time, and here are all the places that I went to. And we ended up having a conversation about different travel places in the Philippines and how long it's been since she's been back and all the things about artists in the Philippines and film in the Philippines. So we ended up having like a 10-minute conversation just connecting about film and being Filipino and traveling around Southeast Asia. If you can imagine the situation, it was my friend who was having the interaction with her because he was buying something from her. I was just sort of hovering around. But I saw all these cool things on the walls about the film festivals, and I wanted to learn more about her as a Filipino and like the Filipinos within show business and film to just understand, what is this world like? But I didn't have a direct line of connection to her. But what I did have power over was just saying something loud enough that I thought that she would connect with to see if she responded. And it turns out that she did, and we had a good conversation because of that. It could have also gone the complete opposite way, where I could have said something out loud and she could have not reacted to it at all. But the cool thing about this is if you do want to talk to someone and you just have an idea or a thought about something that's going on within your vicinity, you can say it out loud. And saying something out loud, not directly to a specific person, is sort of like a bat signal for conversation. It's like, I am thinking this thing, I'm going to say it out loud. Whoever was within earshot can respond to me. And some people might, and some people won't. And either one is okay. But the thing is, you're putting yourself out there and you are letting people around you know that you're inviting a conversation. They can react to what you say. They can carry on a full conversation if they want to. But I found that whenever I have a thought and I want to just talk to someone or I want to comment on something, whenever I say it out loud, usually someone will respond or say something back. And when they do, it's an opportunity to connect and then have a deeper conversation after that. Another thing that I like to do is to compliment someone. Everybody likes compliments. And this could be something that is general or specific to a person. So I think part of the reason why some people fear complimenting other people is they don't want to come off creepy. And the way to not be creepy is to, one, be genuine about the compliment, and then two, have no intention behind it besides complimenting them. The compliments that work best and are non-threatening tend to be the ones that are non-physical. You don't want to always comment on someone's physical features. That can sometimes not be a good thing, but there's also different factors that go into play here, where if you're of a certain gender, it might be seen as threatening if you comment on somebody else who's a different gender than you, and if really zone in on a specific body part, that could be a thing that could cause issues. But you can compliment someone on something else other than that. So if I really like the way someone is dressed, instead of saying, I really like the way you look, I could say something like, I really like your overall style. And it's that sort of thing tends to be taken well because it's complimenting how someone thinks rather than how they look. Because style is not just what you see outwardly, it's alluding to the fact that someone put thought into all the pieces that they're wearing. And so it's complimenting them on their mind rather than complimenting them directly on a specific body part. Another thing that I like to do, and I just did this recently, was I was buying a muffin from a bakery and I thought that the cafe looked really cool. And I noticed that their tip jar was really decorated with a bunch of colorful trinkets. It was just the most decked out tip jar that I've ever seen. And when I was ringing out at the register, I said, oh, that's a really cool tip jar. And the person behind the register said, yeah, like all my coworkers, we like to decorate it. We find that it gets us more tips. And then she started talking more about just like her coworkers and the culture of the cafe and all the quirky things that they try to incorporate, which I thought was really fun. And if you notice what happened there, I could have easily just paid for my baked good and then been on my merry way. But because I said something out loud, it ended up being a bigger conversation and was really friendly. And I've gone to that cafe ever since. And because I usually see the same person, they know me and recognize me now. And it turns into a sort of thing where I'm starting to feel like more of a regular at the cafe. Again, this is just a friendly way to invite more conversation and connect with other people. Another conversation hack that I've been trying to do more is to say a little bit more than what I would usually say. And what I mean by this is usually if we're in a conversation with someone and we are speaking to them and we start to feel like there's a natural end point to what we are going to say, I will say what I'm going to say, but then I will also try to actively think of one extra sentence to add on to that. Take up a little bit more time to say one additional thing to take the conversation just a little bit further. And the reason why I do this is, as someone who's an introvert and is also fairly quiet in group conversations, I notice that I tend to say just enough to answer the question, just enough to share. I don't really elaborate. And if this is something that you resonate with, this could be a helpful tip for you. Most of the time when we're having conversations with other people, it's not about an exchange of information. In a friendly conversation, the intent is more to see if you like talking to the other person. It's to see if there's a chemistry between the two of you. So when you have the chance to have a conversation with someone, just say something more than what's obvious and see where it goes. In summary, the reason why it's important to have impromptu conversations with other people is, one, it builds connection. You just meet more people that way. And you get to learn about someone new, or you could plant the seed for a new relationship and a new connection. And that's something that every person needs. The other thing is it boosts confidence. If you are a person who is able to have a conversation with anyone, you just feel like you can succeed in any sort of social situation and any environment. It's really important to be able to just move comfortably through the world, knowing that you could hold your own when it comes to conversation and when it comes to social interactions. So I firmly believe that as we see more advances in the world, this ability to connect one-on-one in person is going to be increasingly important. We have things like automation. We have things that enable us to communicate virtually and to the masses. But what can never be replaced is the in-person human connection and interaction that we have through conversation. As time goes on, I think it's going to be important for people to hone in on these skills, because if you think about it, everything else is going to be taken care of. Everything else is going to be automated or done for us, and life is going to be easier in that sense. And then all we're going to have left is really this ability to connect and communicate with each other. And if you're someone who aspires to great things and has a lot of goals, you can't do it alone. No one does it alone. Even people who are self-made have mentors. Even people who look like they're alone have a team behind them and have connections to other people that help achieve really cool things in life. So this ability to connect with other people, it's something that I don't think gets as much attention as it should. I hope that these tips were helpful. I sort of rambled in this video because it's just something that I think about a lot, and I like to try to get all of my friends to practice their communication skills all the time. I hope it inspires you to connect with someone, speak your thoughts, have a conversation that you might not have had before, and see where it goes. See if it leads to something. So that's all for today. I hope this was helpful. Thanks, y'all, and take care.